Shabbat Shalom. This week we read the Torah portion of Bamidbar as we begin the fourth book of the Bible. It is a series of numbers and names. We take a census, first a census of the people, a census of the Levites, and we could go into all of that and why we do that, but you know what? If you really want to learn about the census and numbers and names, I invite you to come to services this Shabbat morning, and you can hear our bar mitzvah celebrant Sam Sherman talk about that. I want to focus on the Haftorah. The Haftorah is taken from the book of Hosea. Hosea is one of the minor prophets. He lived sometime in the 8th century before the Common Era. And he is a prophet who tells us a story of a God who is exceptionally frustrated with the Jewish people, whose inner instinct is to actually destroy that Jewish people, but who ultimately decides, because of the relationship that the Jewish people have had with God throughout their history, to save them. The end of this week's Torah portion talks about the relationship between God and the Jewish people in a way that we now somewhat regularly do, but that at the time of the prophet Hosea, he was probably the first one. And that is God and the Jewish people as spouses. In fact, the end of the Haftorah is the very line that we say when we wrap around our fingers, the tefillin in the morning, and we basically espouse ourselves, bind ourselves to God. Think about it for a second. In our modern definition of marriage, spouses are equals, partners are equals. We've always thought of our relationship with God as being very hierarchical. But the prophet Hosea, years and years ago, didn't see it that way. He saw it as a partnership, a covenant of equals. Please don't misunderstand me. I'm not suggesting that we're on the level of God. But I am suggesting that if we want a real relationship with the divine, if we want to feel God's presence in our lives, then we need to think of God as a partner, as a spouse, somebody who's looking out for us, somebody who sometimes knows what's best for us, even if we're not willing to see it ourselves. But I think someone with whom we have a real and lasting relationship. Shabbat Shalom.